What if I told you that the secret to learning Japanese or any language comes down to just 3 main things? And the best part, you don't even have to be perfect. You just have to get started. Today, I'm going to share the top 3 things that made me become fluent in Japanese faster than I ever thought could ever be possible. And stick around because I have a bonus tip at the end of the video that you're gonna want to hear. Let's dive in. At the start, like most people, I worked really hard on grammar. But for me, the real game changer was mimicking natives in how they spoke. I mimicked everything: their timing, their tone, body language, expressions, the way that they use certain words in certain situations. The way that I think about it is, even if you don't understand how to use a word, if you can use that word at the exact same timing and the exact same context that a Japanese person used it in, I think that you'll sound natural. For example, if someone uses the word like "honmani" or "igu" at a certain moment, even if you're not entirely sure about what the meaning of "honmani" or "igu" means, if you can mimic the timing that the native used that word at, and you can mimic the context that word was used in, there's a very good chance that you're using it correctly, even if you don't understand the meaning. And by using words correctly in their intended context, you'll end up sounding a lot more natural and a lot more fluent than you might actually be. I think for me, this combination of understanding grammar but also mimicking natives really boosted my fluency in the Japanese language a lot. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard before, whenever you first start learning a language, you need to start outputting as much as possible. You need to start talking as much as possible. But if I'm being honest, I really don't feel like that is the case. In fact, in most of the cases that I've seen, a lot of people that output way too much end up having really bad habits in their accent and their grammar, and they just don't really get fixed as they get better at the language. So, in my opinion, before you start outputting a lot, don't get me wrong, you can output a little bit, and even for myself, I outputted on apps like HelloTalk and Discord. But you always need to make sure that you're inputting more than you're outputting. And what I mean by inputting is listening to native content, reading native content, and looking at native content. You just need to make sure that you're immersing yourself the best you can in whatever type of content that is available to you in your target language, or in my case, Japanese. If you can get a good base in how natives use the language, especially comprehension-wise, I really think it could do levels for your Japanese. This leads me into my third point, which is finding content that you actually really enjoy. For me, it was Japanese music, video games, and dramas. And the best part about this is, for me, this didn't even really feel like studying because I was doing stuff that I already enjoyed. Sure, I would look up a word that I didn't understand in the dictionary, and sometimes I would be stuck on the plot because there were parts that I didn't really understand. But it was all fun, and it was because of it being fun that I was able to continue this for a very, very long time. I see a lot of people whenever they first start learning Japanese, they try to get into these textbooks and they get into a lot of things that aren't really very fun, and they end up dropping it because they just don't know what to do with the language. They don't have fun with it. It doesn't really give them any sense of pride or sense of accomplishment, and they just drop it. If I'm being honest, it's really mottainai because you obviously had some type of love for the culture, some type of love for Japan, and that's why it made you wanted to learn the language. But in the end, you ended up not having fun with it, so you ended up dropping it, which really sucks. You really just need to find content that you find fun and content that you think that you can enjoy. And this leads me into my final and bonus point. In my opinion, if you can really study a language for a super long, extended period of time, you'll be a lot better than somebody that studied a lot in a short period of time. There's that famous quote by Bruce Lee that goes like, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." I personally believe that language learning works the exact same way. You don't have to study hours every day. You don't have to make sure that you're giving 100% effort 100% of the time. It's not like you're playing sports or something like that. You just have to give it a little bit every single day. You only have 5 minutes? That's fine. You only have 7, 10, 15, 20, even if you have 3 hours, whatever time you can allocate to spending on Japanese is the exact time that I feel like you should spend studying it. Yeah, you should spend this much time reading it. You should spend this much time doing whatever else. And while yes, I do believe that some of those people and some of the things that they are saying have some credibility to them, I also think that instead of worrying about optimizing your Japanese journey, it's better to just get into it and study a little bit every single day. At the end of the day, if you stick with it, maybe a few years from now, you'll look back and see just how far you came in your Japanese journey. Thanks. 幸子